Hi folks, how you doing? RussellTrueResults303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box. Mind, Body, Spirit, Fitness. Put in the healing back in health. Check out the website. Get your free downloads. Setting goals, fitness, and nutrition. Follow on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. The podcast is out there. Links down below in description land. Coming at you today with what your lifestyle truly says about you. Right? I think that's a big one. Because no matter what, they always say your body, the way you act is always telling us something, right? So I can't remember what I was listening to. It was a podcast, one of my Catholic podcasts, fitness podcasts, whatever it was. It might have just been talk radio. And they talked about what your lifestyle says, and it kind of ties into almost everything. So what I want to start with is understanding your own children, right? And understanding the difference between luxury and necessity. And now this one I know I got off of EWTN Catholic Radio here in Colorado. I don't know if it's considered EWTN, might not be. But it was a family psychologist. And he said, if you want to know how your children view the things that they have, take it away from them for a week and see how they actually react to this. How is this child going to react? If you take their phone away from them, how are they going to react? Because if they understand that it's a luxury, they'll just be like, oh, well, I messed up. That's what happens. I'll go play outside. Right? But if they sit there and they holler and they throw a fit and they scream and all of these things, to them, it's a necessity, not a luxury. And that's what we've got to understand. When we lose that boundary of necessity and luxury, horrible things start to happen. So that's the first thing that your lifestyle says about you. When you hit adversity, when challenges come up, when we lose things, when things don't go our way, how do we act? And that's what's truly going to determine what kind of person people view you as. Same thing. There are people who are nice drunks. There are people who are bad drunks. That kind of tells you how that person is deep down, right? Especially since they say when people drink a little bit more, they become more truthful in their speech. So how do people act if they are big drinkers? Are they happy drunks? Are they horrible, mean drunks? It's going to tell you something about them, right? By their lifestyle, by the way they act. Next is, and this is what I've heard, this one I was listening to something political. And they talked about that same thing. How do you live your life? Do you live your life to protect or preserve? Or do you do things to justify something? Right? So it's that same concept of, I go to work because I want to make money to make sure that my children go to college. Right? You are trying to preserve something. Dignity, knowledge, wisdom. You're trying to preserve and protect your family. You are using your work, saving money, whatever it is, to do that. Versus someone that will cheat on their taxes, right? Well, the man's going to take it anyway. Screw the man. I'm going to pretend that I donated. I'm going to lie on my taxes that I donated money here so that I can save on my taxes. Because you're trying to justify your action. Because the man already takes my money anyways, right? I have a friend who I've heard say that, right? So you're justifying your negative actions for the things that you're doing, right? Because of this, because of that, right? So are you protecting or trying to preserve? Or are you always trying to justify? Do you have to justify your actions? And I know that one can kind of go both ways, which can kind of create some conflict, but something to think about. Something to think about. Are you trying to protect, preserve, or are you trying to justify? And usually that's how you're going to be able to tell. People, when they do something wrong, they're usually trying to justify the reason why they did it, right? I don't really have to ever, if you're a child, if you're a husband, you don't ever have to justify, well, why did you cook me dinner when I got home, right? If your wife always does the cooking, you happen to get off work early and you make dinner, you don't have to justify why you did it, right? But if you didn't do the dishes when she told you to do the dish, why didn't you do the dishes? Well, this, that, you're coming up with excuses. So you have to justify that negative. You don't have to justify, well, I just love you, right? So once again, something to think about. How your lifestyle truly affects the way people see you. And you've got to take that into consideration, because that's going to help you in every aspect of your life. So I'm going to end it right there. That was a little shorter than I thought, but once again, I don't really plan. I just kind of have the idea of these videos, and then I just kind of go at it. So hopefully I didn't contradict myself too much I don't contradict myself too much in a lot of these videos. I try not to. But once again, I usually make my list of video titles and they just sit there and resonate in my brain, and I drive around with no music on sometimes, maybe just talk radio, see if I can pick up some things. And you know, silence is power. So I would definitely suggest that you kind of just relax and sit in silence a little bit. So there we go. Don't forget to follow on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. The podcast is out there. Description land, description box. Subscribe to this channel. Share and like these videos.